afternoon. I always draw the short straw and get after lunch. Let me first explain who the team was. The structural engineer is Thornton Tomasetti, and Dennis Poon, who's our moderator today in the panel. Cosentini is a mechanical engineer, and the lead principal designer is my partner, June Shaw, who's done a fantastic job of creating this concept and bringing it to fruition. Some of you may not know Gensler. We're a large firm. We're not known for super tall buildings, but I hope we will be after this project is completed. It is a wonderful project that we've really had fun with, and as Dennis mentioned, as you'll see in the final picture, it really is under construction. It really is going to happen and is really going to be completed in 2014. The Shanghai Tower is a timeless reflection of Chinese future. The new Shanghai Tower is the third and final planned super high-rise in Pudong, and this was planned by the city, and so we're not talking about fighting about doing a big building. We're being supported by the community rather nicely. It's the brotherhood of three towers that will complete the development, and all three buildings will be seen in harmony as one complete composition. The evolution of forms are really the first building being the Jinmao represents China's past, and it is a building designed to emulate the local history and the culture. The second building, the World Financial Center, is China's present, or one of the interdependency and foreign, based on global interdependency and foreign investment. But our third building and the final structure represents, we believe, China's future. This is both the future of the city along the Haopeng River and the Chinese spirit. Is a building whose shape is derived from all the things that are natural. It is embodied in the knowledge of the past, the requirements and present of the inspiration for the future. The building's form is open, and this is really critical. The building we wanted as a building for the people in Shanghai, something that they would feel comfortable with, approach, and that was part of the city's requirements, and I think it's helped us to make a great building. This building's form is open-ended, spiral that is both accepting of change and evolution, and an openly designed building for the people of Shanghai to be honored and celebrated. It has a vision. The large program, we're going to have almost 5.5 million square feet of gross constructed space on the site, is a soft vertical spiral functioning as a vertical city. It's a mixed-use building of unique interconnected neighborhoods that evolve the tower slowly as it rises into the sky. In the vertical city, the building composed of neighborhoods that express the interconnectedness of parts, expressing as a whole, one total building. All the thoughts in the tower result from a combination, and I think this is really important. It's always a building of twos. Everything on the building has two purposes. It's both an art and a science, technology and beauty, knowledge and perception, and above all, the Shanghai Tower building was designed by not a single person, but a really collective team. And I can't be more proud of the work that the team's done. The general over tower is interesting in that the FAR is 380,000 square meters, but when we got through, it's 550,000 feet, 550,000 meters, square meters of area built on the site, and it comprises 121 stories of occupiable floors. There are also, as you'll see, skyline, Gabi floors and areas of refuge floors, about 14 of those. So it's about a 140-story building when you really put it all together. And it rises 632 meters or 2,000 feet. The building has really luxury retail, office, hotel lobbies, restaurants, conference, meeting rooms, and special function areas. It has 5 lower levels designed for retail, parking, service, and mechanical functions. The lower levels are connected to the Jinmao and the World Financial Center underground, but also, and very importantly, connect directly to the subway, which is an important new addition to Pudong connection system for transportation. The unique feature of the building is that it rotates 120 degrees as it rises through the 121 occupied floors. Above the last floors, there's a series of sustainable areas which include wind turbines. We have 45 wind turbines that will be included for night lighting of the building. We have a rainwater collection system on the roof, and we have a tempered damper system that is also up in that area of the building. And the unique thing is that we're going for a LEED Gold rating and for the highest China rating, which is a 3-star rating for the building. And I want to talk a little more about sustainability and the features that are included in this building in a moment. The tower is really broken down into segments based on the code requirements. 12 stories you can have, we can have 14 stories, but 2 of those are areas of refuge floors and mechanical floors. So the building is created into 7 zones of 12 stories or occupied space each. And that has some unique design features and gives us a lot of flexibility in how we use the building. Because these area refuge and mechanical floors we can use for support floors for whether it's be a hotel or for an office need. There's extra space there, but it gives us also a great deal of flexibility because the mechanical systems are related to those 12 floors and gives us operating flexibility. And then on the top of those 12 stories, the sky lobbies, we have what we call our amenities or our sky lobbies, which you'll see how that works in a minute. I just wanted to point out a couple of things that I found fascinating. When I counted it up, we had 23 review bodies that the Chinese established for special groups, from fire protection to municipal landscaping and forestry to Environmental Protection Bureau. We had 43 codes that we had to work with, both standard for national and the local codes, 8 local standards which were special, 20 construction quality acceptance standards, and 19 technical standards. So they loaded us up with lots of different codes and different areas that we really hadn't dealt with before. As you can see from this slide, we really have an area in a park. This really shows the composition of the buildings. But I think it's interesting, the height of the buildings, 432, 492, 632. And in this you can see the stacked towers of the 7, with the top 9 in the basement. We've got the 9 sections, but really there's 7 sections in the middle that I count as the major areas of the building. It was interesting, we studied the twisting of the building and how that would work, and we found that a 120-degree twist gave us the best structural work, and I'll show you that in a second in the wind tunnel test. And then we also studied the taper of the building and found that 5% taper allowed us to have the best efficiency of form and shape. It allowed us to have smaller floors at the top for hotel and observation and boutique spaces, and then the lower floors are larger and work better for the uses of the office space. Here's the wind tunnel test. We started with a small wind tunnel test on the lower right-hand corner, and then when we decided we would really go for it broke, we built a 7-meter tall model, and then modeled both Jinmao and World Financial Center, and allowing us to prove that we could reduce the structural loads by 24%, which really helped in cost, and we were able to save a significant cost factors when we did that. Now the building also has a double skin, and it's interesting that the building is a series of stacked cylinders. Each floor is round, and you can see that on the inner circle. But the outer triangular, soft-edged triangle rotates and twists this 120 degrees, and we have a notch in that breaks up the wind eddies to also support the structural reduction that we were able to accomplish. These floors, therefore, go to the outer skin as the amenity floors and allow for all sorts of uses Instead of going down 100 stories to get a cup of coffee, there'll be every 14 floors, there'll be coffee shops and all sorts of amenities, depending upon the use. And there'll be lobbies for the hotel operations. And this is kind of what these amenity floors will look like. And they'll have a tapered atrium that is supported by this sort of bicycle support structure that we've created on the outside. The office floors, again, will be a round cylinder, and I just point out the structural system. I'm sorry we can't talk more about it because it's a tremendous system, but it is a composite concrete steel core that reduces as it goes up. There are the 4 super columns on the top, bottom, and 2 sides, and then intermediate columns that go up partial way because of the spans. As the floors get smaller, we don't need those intermediate ones on the diagonal as support columns. The hotel level gets us 191 hotel rooms in a series of hotels and lays out in a kind of a unique and wonderful way. As you can see, the columns the diagonal columns have dropped off and the core has gotten much, much smaller. And then on the very top, we have 4 observation floors. 2 are enclosed observation deck. 1 is a restaurant, and the top floor is an open observation deck, which also will be able to look at the wind turbines working, a little bit of the damper working, and the rainwater collection system, which is part of our sustainable group. And that rainwater will be used for gray water throughout the building. This is sort of the way the interconnection floors at the observation deck, and I won't get into that in detail. One of the things that we've talked about is this intelligent skin. We've got an outer skin, which is really the barrier skin. It's a single laminate glazing system with a frit pattern on it that varies between the north, south, east, west. We've designed the frit system to be very much in line with the solar orientation. And then the inside wall type on the cylinders is a double glazed insulated wall glazing system. So some of our sustainable goals are really taking a high-rise office building to the maximum. A new regional benchmark we're trying to set for China and especially for Shanghai. Ultra-low energy carbon uses, reducing it by about 20%. Bioclimate design and intelligent skin, very intelligent skin. Integrated water and waste management, sustainable materials, and integrated landscaping. These are the efficiencies we're trying to get to. Lighting controls 24% below normal. Envelope 7% below normal. Central plant 36%. HVAC 33%. And that's about 15 million RMB of dollars per year, which amounts to about $2.5 million worth of savings a year in energy costs. Just some interesting things. Carbon reduction. We're reducing carbon. And I love the comparison. It's like 5 times the forest, which is the Pudong Central Park, which is a major park right adjacent to our site. And that will be a major reducer of carbon by the way we've designed it. On water saving, we're doing amazingly well. We've got 675 million liters that we're reducing from normal use because of gray water and other collection systems. And then very, very interesting that the site required that only half the site be covered by building. So we have a 50% open park area. And of that park area, we've got some roads in it, but 33% of the total site will be green landscaped park area, which will be for the people of Shanghai and also be part of the quality of the building and the quality of the sustainable efforts that we're putting in. The elevatoring system is interesting. I want to get the numbers right, but we have 108 elevators, which seems like an awful lot, but in fact, it's interesting. We've got 20 double-deck elevators, 86 single-deck elevators, and 37 escalators. It's a really wonderfully efficient system. Basically, the concept is you ride double decks to your zone and then circulate within your zone on single-deck elevators, and so we're able to use the same shafts stacked up on top of each other to make that work. And we can have all the mechanical equipment in these area refuge floors. The only thing that fascinated me was we can't run a freight elevator from bottom to top because there's no cable strong enough to lift it that far. the cable weighs more than the motors can carry it up. But we do have double-deck airlifts that run to our observation deck all the way to the top and run to the hotels. And hotels are above and below the drop-off point. So they have two lobbies on the amenity floor. One you go down, the other you go up. The thing that's interesting is the building would take 2 hours to evacuate under normal circumstances. So we're working with the fire protection people and to use some of the double-deck elevators to take people out as well. And then we have the fireman's office and good lifts, which are used but can be used in case of fire for evacuation as well. Building lighting will be, as I mentioned, done by our wind turbines, and we're planning to have an LED strip that follows this snaky V notch as we go up the building, and it will be programmed for all sorts of kind of adjusting to the climate, adjusting to other things so that it won't be a static element. Recycling is a big thing with them, and we will have recycling on each floor, but we're going to have recycling depots at each of the below the amenity floors in the area refuge areas, and then nightly that'll be dropped to a storage area and distribution area down in the lower levels. Water resources, I say, is 40% reduction in water consumption, with gray water being a big possibility used in everything except the actual drinking water. And sun shading, as I mentioned, on the frit patterns will be not a uniform pattern, but it'll be designed and set up based on solar orientation. The wind turbine is at 54,000 kilowatt hours a year, and that we're lucky we have a constant wind speed of about 4 meters per second, which we think is going to give us pretty uniform power generation to work the night lighting. And then the top of the building is a water collection area as well. just want to prove that we're really building this building. We've put 995 piles, I believe, or caissons in. We'll be up to the ground and the area under the tower for the 2010, in 2010. And I just also want to thank, we've had a wonderful supportive client who's really believed in this building, and the Shanghai city government has been terrific. So thank you very much. I apologize for the technical problems.